welcome back to my channel. And this is your friend Ebony. And how about if we go back to the basics, right? I know I haven't recorded. I am recording today. So please don't feel bombarded by all the videos. But I wanted to say hi. And we're going to be working on my Big Mama Bible. We're going to be journaling a printable kit. And this is from Confetti Creativo. It's called Honey in the Rocks. It comes with this beautiful devotional, a honey pot. We got a cute title, some honeycomb, and some cute little bees. The bees and this big honeycomb, it's print on sticker paper. And then this is just cardstock. And I'll be leaving a link down below so you guys can get your printable set. I'm just going to be drilling with printables. And then I pull up some stencils. I have this ones. It has like grace, grow, transform, shine, hey man, rise, light, faithful. I have this one that it will like mimic honey, which I'm thinking of using. And then I have this one that has the bees. This one's from By the Wolf for God, and this one is from Whimsical. It's from Whimsy Stamps. So that is what I'm gonna be using. I'm gonna pull up two different oxide pads, scattered straw, and peacock feather, and my blending brush. And I got some gloss sprays from Dina Weekly, Sky, and Lemon. And I have always some white and black splatters in case I'm splattering. If you know me, you know that I like to splatter everything. So again, welcome back and let's jump in. So we are going to be working, again, this is my Big Mama Bible. So most of the New Testament has been already journaled on. So I'm trying to find cross-reference on studies that I can use. Sorry, the New Testament is all done. It's almost all journaled, but the Old Testament is not. So I'm trying to cross-reference kits that are based on like verses on the New Testament that I can cross-reference to the Old Testament. So that way I can fill her up. And then by me, I think I'm gonna wrap her up. And she's gonna be one of my big baby Bible that I'll have to show to friends, families. Yeah. She will be the first one completed in the collection. So we're almost there. Almost there. So again, we're going to be working on Honey in the Rock. We're going to be working on Exodus 17 verses 6. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight. I'm going to use my Faber-Castell Pit pen. It has like this nice brush. So I'm just going to go here and start. I am gonna highlight the whole part. So yeah, so I'm just gonna now go ahead and work on the devotional. I'll be putting you guys fast forward because now I'm going into my worship session. So I'll see you in the next one. Hang tight now. Okay, friends, so this is the voiceover for this page, right? Honey on the Rocks. And I am going to read to you the devotional, right? This devotional was written by Suzanne from Confetti Creativo. And it starts on Psalm 81:16. But you will be fed with the finest sweet, with honey from the rock. I will satisfy you. Listen to the praise and worship music or worship song, Honey in the Rocks by Brooke Ligerwood. And just that, imagine of a honey in a rock sounds crazy, right? But our God is the God of the possible. Nothing is too difficult for him. You may be in a situation that you see no way out, like the Israelites when they were wandering in the desert. And this is where I was based on Exodus 17:6. But God goes before us. He knows what lays ahead, and he will be with us every step of the way and provide exactly what we need. God will provide from honey to water from the stone, and that's where I was based on Exodus 17:6. It talks about Moses hitting the rock and water coming from the stone. And I did still wanted to right, cross-reference this study of honey and the rocks, so that way every time I go back to my Bible, I have this devotional right there for that reason. And manna from heaven, if we go to Exodus 16, 1 to 36. Our God is faithful. He's unending provision is evident in our lives each and every day. You see it. Or do you let your anxiety of the unknown get in the way of seeing God's goodness in your life? I know that sometimes lost sight of his faithfulness when I allow to worry to creep in. That's why it is so important that we know his word. Psalm 119:11. His word is truth, and truth disciples the lies of the enemies. I love the lyric in the song because it reminds me of God's sweet provision for his people through the ages. In Psalm 81, God invites his people, Israel, to receive the very best of his blessing. All he asks is that we listen to his word and walk his path. The Lord promised in verse 16 that he will feed them with the finest wheat, with in Hebrew translate the fat of the wheat that is used to make the best bread, healthy and nourishing. Then God adds that he will satisfy them with honey from the rock. Honey adds sweetness and joy to eating. God is the only one who can nourish and bring true joy. He is the only who can satisfy our souls. First of Corinthians 10:4 says, "And all drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank from the spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ." Thank you, Jesus, for everything we need. We've got freedom where the Spirit is, bounty in the wilderness. You will always satisfy. Oh, how sweet it is to trust in Jesus. I pray that this will bless you in your creative worship as you study his word. Hide it in your heart and taste and see the Lord is good. Psalms 34:8. And this is right by Suzanne from Confetti, Creativo. And what a wonderful word. And before we continue speaking on this word, I did want to show you, right? You saw that I did the honey drops right backwards. And then I thought it was going to look cute with the with the straw, distress oxide. And I did not like it. It blended with the blue, and then it gave me this weird color. So now I am like, oh no, what do I do now? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring. So here I am. Okay, I was like, okay, let me pull up some Lindy's powder. They activate with water. So I was like, okay, and it has shimmer. Let's see what it looks like. So I am spritzing my little water, and I'm going with a pencil to see, with a paintbrush, to see how it will turn out. And you'll see that this was not turning out as how I wanted. And I was like, well, I can just go ahead and stop recording and reprint everything again. But then I was like, I'm out of sticker paper, but I can go ahead and do maybe I had them pre-cut already. I was like, well, maybe I can use another page and try. And I was like, you know what? No, we're going to fix it. So we are showing the before and I was able to fix it, and it turned out so cute. I really, really enjoyed this page. And all of this, I'm not even worried about it. I am just like worshiping, singing, babies coming in and out at this point. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go with my heating tool. Let's heat this up to see how it turns out. You can see that there's a lot of shimmer. And I was like, oh, it doesn't. I thought it was gonna be like more of a maybe intense yellow. And I was like, okay, well, this is not working like I thought. But no worries, you're going to see now how I come ahead and fix it. So I had to bring out mermaid honey. I think it's called honeycomb, the distress oxide that I used. And that was like the perfect like yellow orangey. That was what I was looking for, and I was able to fix it. And then the beads, I was able to go with blue ribbon, and it pulled up that beautiful blue. I wanted to do yellow and blue, so it was able to bring those two tones in one page. So here, I'm like, okay, so let me see if I can get rid of those blue background that is getting me a headache. So I'm going with some Lindy sprays. This is flat yellow. And I'm going with some mica stain spray, and this is another yellow. And I was like, okay, let's see what happens. I'm going with the with a smooshing technique, and it did I think it did settle better the background, and I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay, I was like, I can do this now. So here I'm gonna go in and just let that dry. But again, let's go as we were talking in the devotional, right? How many times, right, we let that impossible thing stand in the middle of our way and think that either our issue is too big for God to actually put his hand and work through it with us, or we just think that God is too busy, right, working with everybody else's problem, that we think that we can go ahead and resolve it by ourselves. But this is that fresh water for your spirit and a fresh word that it is not impossible. The Israelites were not the best people. God had giving him promises and promises and promises, and they just didn't listen. So this is the second part of this voiceover. My toddler came in the room, so I do apologize. But we were talking about the Israelites not listening to God's promises, right? Many a time God will give them promises, and if they didn't see it when they wanted it, right, they will not be patient, and they will just do whatever they wanted, which is this bad toxic circle of not listening and being able to fully surrender it to the Lord, right? So that is why it is so important, right, for us as Christians to just be able to stand firm on God's promises to us as their children's, right? And no matter what situation you're going through, right, just keep your eyes on Jesus, right? That he will make way, that he will provide honey, right, from the rock, that he is our faithful God, that he is with us, that we just have to wait patiently. And while we wait, right, we worship him because he deserves all praise and glory. So it is this time for us to ponder in his word and his promises. And even if you have to go through your house and put sticky notes everywhere, verses that talks about the promises that God has for us, his kids, go ahead and do it. Whatever you need to do to put your eyes or leave your eyes focus on Christ. So here, as you guys can see, right, I'm gonna go with a distress oxide that is I think it's called honeycomb, I think, something like that. And price ribbon, because now I'm gonna do the contrast. So finally I was like, okay, it doesn't look that bad. I liked how I finished covering most of the blue part. So I'm going here with my blending brush, and I'm just gonna go in and blend, and I'm gonna do it in a few corners, and you can see how kind of orangey honeycomb looks. So it actually covers a lot, and I really like that impression of the little honeycombs. So here we go. Or the little honey, is that a honeycomb? The bee, I don't know, the bee stamp or the bee stencil. So here I'm just going into a few places on my Bible, and I'm using the Illustrated Bible, the big one. So it's pretty. This is one of my first Bible journaling Bibles. So here I'm just doing that contrast, and you can see I really like this color. I wish I would have just gone through my oxides before grabbing the first yellowy that I used, because this one would have like been perfect in the beginning. So here I'm just gonna go in and do the honey, like it's dripping, and I really like the impression on it. I'm using some masking tape to try to leave the stencil in place, and it's covering a lot, and that's what I was looking forward. It was to cover that kind of greenish blue in the background. So here I got the stencil. I'm gonna go with price ribbon, and I'm just gonna start blending in a few areas. I'm not gonna do the whole stencil just a few areas where I want to imprint the bees. And you can see how pretty it looks. It came out pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. So now I'm just going through my page, making sure everything it's nicely imprinted. And now that I have that done, I'm gonna start working with just drawing really quick the page. I always like to draw because I'm left-handed, and I didn't know if there was maybe something I didn't want to just smear. So I am just going in and making sure everything is dried. And now that I figured out that everything is dry, I am gonna put you to fast forward as you see the finished results, my friend. So I hope this word you're able to carry it with you, to ponder on it, and you can actually journal with this printable set. So stay tuned, and I will put you in fast forward now.